came to the U.S. in 1999 with my family due to the civil war back in Somalia, and it was me and my mom and my dad and just me at that time. So my mom tells me stories about how we was in a refugee camp, where she had to struggle, like find food for us and shelters, and every night she had to go out and just find food, and especially for a refugee camp,
Yeah.
and it was just difficult, for me just to hear those stories, and I can resemble as a kid and just tell me her like the story of me and my parents, and just it was hard, for me specifically because I didn't want my mom to go through that struggle. But I mean, I could tell my mom process how it was difficult for her just to, like fill all those papers, and obviously she didn't know English, and that was the biggest struggle as a refugee in the States, and especially my dad. But we had a lot of help, like we had translators, Somali translators that guide us and help us in the process. So we first landed in Texas, and then we came to the Minnesota because of the Somali population. There was a lot of Lutheran churches that was sponsoring refugees at that moment, and obviously my parents wanted to be close to our people, Somali people. So, and they felt comfortable here on the mill, just to my mom, and just even grocery stores, just have to, take her with her and just, get the food she wants, especially. And it was tough because my parents, like they're not used to it with this culture. It's like you literally was dropped, or like a baby born, to a different country. It's like starting all over again. It's tough, very. But when she came to the U.S., it was a great opportunity for her just to, and my dad too, just to pursue and to have a better life in America. And it was happy for me because, like I said, I'm the first generation of my family to graduate from high school. Our generation, the youth, are like very involved and in extracurricular stuff, So I think those are the two main parts differentiate from the youth and the old generation.
Okay.
So yeah. For example, growing up in a Somali household, I have to speak my language, right? Because you don't want to lose that roots and just you don't want to lose who you are, That's obviously the language is part of your identity and DNA, and obviously whenever I'm outside of the household, obviously I hang out with my white friends, we can like just have fun, just like live in the American culture, But at the same time, you have to know where you came from, and just don't lose that root. And there's a lot of balancing that you can balance actually, where that you can succeed in both cultures. I'm involved in track team, and obviously that's a predominantly white team, but they're great people, we have similar common backgrounds. We love sports, we love track and field, and just finding that similarity within each other is absolutely amazing. But yes, I've been in the States for like 19 years, 18 years around there. I consider myself a Somali American. With the fear, with everything going on with our parents, they're not used to sending their child off to college, especially in the dorms or something. It's a cultural standpoint because they're scared because something happen, something bad can happen, But obviously, having me and the family, like I can tell them, how it's like to be in the dorm, and just it's like American culture, it's part of the process. Nothing will happen, and just being aware of what's going on. My little brother went to North Dakota, obviously, for school, my mom was scared. She's like, no, don't go because you go in the middle of nowhere, it's North Dakota, literally, it's like there's no Somali out there. So, I mean, yeah, I told my mom, he's absolutely pursuing his education, and it's obviously part of the culture, just American culture, to send their kids and to pursue their education. And, the reason why I started behind the motive was because, there's a lot of hatred towards refugees in the media particular, and I was kind of upset because, because that doesn't define all refugees, And I actually talked to my mentor about this, starting a nonprofit. He was kind of concerned. I was concerned because I was scared because I was going to get a lot of backlashes, So what would happen, if I started this nonprofit, especially at the current political climate, But he said, go with your guts, and I had a great feeling with my guts that I'm going to do this, no matter what. And actually, we tell successful stories, and I feel like of refugees, particularly around the local community, like how they contribute to society, how are they involved in the community, and all those elements. And it's been going great. We've been getting a lot of attraction, and it's been going well. So with the refugees, so So I mean, it worked out, but we have a lot of work to do, because we want to put more stories out there just to defeat hate, and I feel like storytelling is the best way to get connected in a rural area, not even locally, but just out there in the world. But I tell my fellow friends and refugees, like especially recent refugees, just go out there and explore. There's a lot of the world's big, and just you meet great people. Just have a coffee with a stranger or something, and just learning their culture and just telling your personal story is absolutely amazing. So I think that's how we can solve the disconnect, from like xenophobic and a lot of hatreds and all that stuff. Just sharing those stories.